see you too. I see there's a few people joining, so we're just going to wait till 1 o'clock to kick off, if that's okay with you.
That's
So,
perfectly.
how's your day going so far?
Very good, thanks. Busy.
Busy?
But as the saying goes, no man is too busy than to stop and tell you how busy he is.
That's very true. Very true.
But yeah,
Yeah.
more appointments, and then we'll do some afternoon sort of administration work. But yeah, good. And then I'm doing viewings on properties tonight.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah, so you don't just work normal office hours, Ronan. You're outside office hours as well, eh?
Yeah, an auctioneer, well, an established auctioneer, a good auctioneer, you have to work about 8 till 7.
Yeah.
And you do a little bit of work in the morning before the phones start. So you do your administration from about 8 until 9, and then the day kicks off and you have appointments set up. And then you do your evening viewings from about 5 till 7, and then you drive on home.
Yeah, it's pretty similar with mortgage brokerages. So we pretty much start at 8, half 8 in the morning, and we can work right through to 8 or 9 at night as well. Not every day now, but some evenings you would have late appointments. Thankfully, everything's online these days, so you never really have to leave the house or the office. I know that's not the case for you. You have to get out and about and view the properties themselves.
We do. Yeah, we have to visit the properties and inspect them. And I've been to 3 separate properties this morning, one at 10, one at 11, one at 12. So just back here now. And then in the afternoon, I'll just do like reports on them. And then one is a tour instructions that I'm getting to sell in a couple of months. It's a long game. You don't just get a call, you get a property then the next day and it's on the market next week. With some properties, it takes actually, as true as God, one on Annadale nearby, I've been sort of like grooming it for the last like 3 years.
Okay, right. But you knew it was going to go for sale at some point.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah.
We're already getting a stage because it's the clients have to decide that they want to put it on the market and that the timing is good for them. So that's what we got to respect.
Of course. Great. Well, listen, I'm just going to kick off then, Ronan. And I think to start off, we'll just introduce ourselves and then, we'll ask each other a few questions and see how we get on. Just to mention to anyone that's joined as well, we're going to keep this to no more than 30 minutes. We know everybody, including ourselves, has a busy day, so we don't want to take up too much of your time. But at the same time, we hope you'll get some useful information from today. I know myself as a mortgage broker, we've lots of customers who are mortgage approved and they're keen to find a property, which is very challenging at the moment. So hopefully Ronan can give you some tips there. But yeah, just to introduce myself then, first of all, so I'm Stephen from MortgageLine. I set up MortgageLine 20 years ago now at this stage. It doesn't seem like that long. Time flies when you're having fun, I suppose. So initially I worked for a bank for a couple of years as a mortgage advisor. I was never really comfortable with the fact that I couldn't help as many people as I'd like to help. I knew I probably wasn't getting some people the best interest rate possible as well, because I could only deal with what the bank's offering was that I had available. So after a couple of years with the bank, I moved to a mortgage brokerage. That was fantastic. It really opened up my mind and I could help a lot more people, get people a lot better interest rates and just get people the mortgage they wanted and into their home as quickly as possible. So after a couple of years then working for a mortgage brokerage, I set up MortgageLine. I always really wanted to be self-employed. My dad was self-employed and it just always really appealed to me. So 20 years later, here we are. And I have a team of mortgage brokers and support staff, and they are dedicated to getting our customers the best mortgage deal possible in terms of the loan amount and the interest rate. So that's pretty much MortgageLine and Stephen Hamilton. How about you then, Ronan? Just give us a bit about your background.
Well, by coincidence, I set up this business about 20 years ago. All right. I set it up in 2005 and I was from a retail background. So I was always selling all my life, but I just loved property. So I sold off a business and I started actively in property in the late 90s, but I opened my own business in 2005. And then the crash happened in the peak in 2006, the market eased. And then it stayed level till February 2007, and then she descended and she went down every month on month, until the end of 2012. I always do when I'm giving a speech, I always bring a bottle of bubbly and tell people that in 2007 I had a house to sell on Newcabber Road and I had it on the market for $975. The client said, "Get me $1 million, Ronan, get me $1 million," and I had $980, and he wouldn't accept it. And to cut a long story short, the market crashed, and then he told me to sell it again at the very bottom of the market. And I always offered them, the audience, the guessing game of what did I sell it for, and I let them guess, but none of them get it right. And I sold it for less than 300,000. It was 280,000, and that's fact. The market crashed in those times, and they dropped by about 50-60%, sometimes higher. So to survive that was a challenge. But we're a local-based agent. We're here in Drumcondra. I have another office opening in Capel Street, and I'm just going to look after, which I do look after, Dublin 9 and Dublin 11 and 7, and I want to get more into Dublin 7 and Dublin 8, and keep it just like a boutique estate agents and know your market. And I know it inside out. I'm from the area in Drumcondra. I've grown up here, and I bought my first house in this area, and it's a beautiful place to work and live. So I would know everything about it, so I'd be happy to answer any questions that your audience would have.
Brilliant. So yeah, I think the let me see, the most important question, I suppose, for our customers, I'll start with that one. So the property market is really difficult, as you know yourself, Ronan. It really is a seller's market. So I'm coming at it from a buyer's point of view. And really, it's like, what advice would you give to someone looking for a property? So we've hundreds of people mortgage approved. They're looking to find a property. They're finding it really hard. But what advice would you give to them?
Be patient, okay? Because it's a long process. Buyers think that you'll go out and you purchase online now, and you go out to the shops and you buy your commodities like quite quickly. All right. Well, with property, it's a long, drawn out procedure, and you need patience. And what you should do is you should really concentrate on an area. Okay. So get out looking actively and give yourself a little bit of time at the weekend to spend time viewing on a Saturday, but picking areas and driving around on a Sunday, because it is a big decision. But when you start looking, you're looking at all areas, right? But over a period of time, you then begin to concentrate on the particular areas that appeal most to you. Okay, for work or
so keep it up in mind, but try and narrow it down then at some point.
It's important, it's imperative to narrow it down, because then you would become a little bit of an expert on the area, and then you'll be able to do price comparisons. You'll know that a 2-bedroom went for that, or a 3-bedroom went for that, or what they achieve. So you won't be believing everything the auctioneer says, okay, which one shouldn't, right? But you should know and be a little bit more of an authority on the subject, because, as I don't need to remind your listeners, it's a big decision. It's a big purchase. It's probably the biggest purchase you'll ever make, okay, monetarily wise. So you have to do the research, and the research starts now.
Yeah. And do you get many customers coming to you before they have mortgage approval, looking to go sale agreed? Is that a challenge for you? Like, or do you just tell those people, listen, go back to your mortgage broker, go back to your bank, get mortgage approval first, and then you can come and bid on the property? So, sorry, I'm going about that question in a roundabout way, but the question really is, what do you look for from people when they come to you and they want to bid on a property? Is there certain minimum requirements you have from buyers?
There is, okay, and what we have to do is we have to get a property. Our job as auctioneers is, first of all, get the instruction on a house to sell. And then the second thing we have to do is find a buyer who has the interest, the level of interest, okay, and the passion and the finances to purchase and proceed with the sale. Okay, so we have to meet them at the property, we have to chat with them, and we have to investigate on our behalf, because we're negotiating the sale, and on the vendor's behalf, the fact that they can proceed with the sale and conclude with it. So mortgage approval is imperative, and if people have a budget, okay, and it's in and around, and they have the mortgage approval, they provide us. If they are starting to bid on a property, it's then we ask for mortgage approval. We don't ask for it, Stephen, we say first off, okay? We let them come in for a house, see that they like it, and then it's only a negotiation we'd establish that.
Yeah. But you obviously, you're working for the seller, so you want to make sure they're qualified buyers and they're serious, absolutely, and can afford to buy the property, most importantly, because you're busy, your time is limited as well, so you can only do. And I suppose at the moment you probably have a lot more buyers than you have sellers, so I suppose you're trying to marry that up as well.
Well, it's next to impossible, all right, because then there'll be disappointment in the market, Stephen, because there's 40% less properties to sell now, okay, on market level. Definitely over 30%, right? But you can see that just a simple example for all of the listeners is click onto myhome.ie, which is a shop window where we all put our products on, and look up Dublin North, which is my area. And you will see that the listings are down to 670 in Dublin North. And that was normally around 1,100 or 1,200, like a choice of that amount of properties. That choice isn't there because people are just reluctant and afraid and cautious to put their properties on the market. So for you first-time buyers or buyers out there, your choice is more limited. So you have to, we say, get up a little bit earlier and do the research and have all your finances in a row so you could go to an auctioneer quickly and say, listen, I love this house, I'm ready to go. What is the client looking for?
I think that's a couple of really important points. So first of all, you were saying to be patient. So it's really important for first-time buyers to be patient. But likewise, have all your ducks in a row. So get your mortgage approved, work out your buying budget, know what you can afford, and then just get out there and look and be patient. But yeah, look as hard as you can, I suppose. And that was a very good kind of point you made as well about, I suppose, start off with a wider net and narrow it in. So focus really on the area that you think you can afford and works for you.
Absolutely. Focus on the area, right? But I'll just tell your listeners, right, because I do this every day, right? And always remember, right, that you make up your mind in a property psychologically between 11 and 15 seconds. Walk in the door, you mightn't realize it for 20, 30 seconds that, yay, oh yeah, I like this, or no, I don't like it. But you make a psychological decision, right? So it is just, you should be out looking and not look at more than 4 properties, max 5 in a day, because then you get tired running around, all right? And you should book your times, pick your area, and just like organize your Saturday that you're doing one at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock finish, or 2 o'clock finish. And because when I see people that see 7 properties, they're exhausted. I could be showing them Buckingham Palace, and they just are so tired that they don't want to see it. Don't do it in stages.
Cool. So, another question then that's come up is, do all properties need a BER cert? And is it the responsibility of the buyer or the seller to get the BER cert?
Okay, good question. All right. We'll say 90% of properties need a BER cert. All right. And there is a clause for the age of the property. All right. Because if she's before, was say 1850, built and constructed in 1850, she will not need a BER cert. She'll be exempt. All right. Because of it. All right. So you're buying, I would say, an old house that will probably need restoration or continuing restoration. So it's the modern houses. And they're from, we say, 1880 plus. They all need a BER report, and that's an energy rating.
Okay, brilliant.
And just point out on that, like sometimes the old houses, just by coincidence, I'm selling a beautiful house now, and she's 1885. You can look it up. She's number 3 Jones Road, right beside Croke Park, and she was built in 1885. And it's the first house ever that I've got that has a B rating.
Okay, and it's built that long ago and it has a B rating. Right.
All of those houses, the max I've ever seen them achieve would be a C rating, but this one has a B rating, and it needs to block up chimneys, etc., and insulate the walls. So it can be achieved, all right, but it's worthwhile checking and assessing the energy rating for all houses. But 99% will have energy ratings.
Brilliant. So I think that is something that can maybe put people off second-hand properties sometimes, is the BER rating. And I suppose if you have a lower BER rating, you're going to have a higher energy bill. But a big problem at the moment is there just isn't enough new properties being built. So it's very hard for people to find and go sale agreed on a new property. But yeah, with second-hand properties though, I suppose that is an option for people too, because if they have the funds, they can obviously bring that property up to scratch and get your a B3 rating, which means you can get a green mortgage rate as well, so you can save money on that. Okay, so listen, just to before I move on then to answer a few questions, Ronan, we'll just finish up by you're obviously very experienced and successful at what you do. You've been doing it for over 20 years. Can I just ask you, what do you feel sets Move Home apart from other estate agents, other selling agents? What sets you apart, do you think?
We're a little bit different, okay? We're a boutique estate agent,
Okay.
all right? And we don't open 20 branches. We just want to run what we have and run it well, right? Because how you survive and how you advance in this business is by word of mouth, okay? And recommendation.
Yeah.
And you can't do that in volume in this business because you won't be able to look after everybody. And we have a brilliant office right in the heart of Drumcondra. And what is unique about us is we win awards for best office and shop front. All right, we've won 6 or 7 awards with Dublin City Council. We have the highest amount of Google reviews for any estate agent in Leinster. We have about 670, so it's a 4.8 rating. And that's people just giving us their feedback and being honest after we sell their house or we rent their house. And we manage property as well. We manage a large portfolio of a couple of hundred properties. And we had to do that to survive the recession, because I always remember in the very bottom of the market in 2011-12, like I had 80 properties to sell. Like that's 80, right? And the phone would never ring. Like nobody wanted to, like, and I'd pick up the phone to see was there a dial tone and put it down. So I've gone from that extreme, all right, to where there's a shortage of supply. And your listeners have to be aware of that. There is a shortage of supply. It's down about 30%, but it will start to improve because they are building a little bit more.
Yeah.
And less investors are buying property, and also investors are selling properties. So there are more coming on. So get your finances in order, get ready, and get out and look. And if I can give one more piece of advice, and your listeners should remember this forever, right? That there's a saying that the day you buy is the day you sell. All right. So when you're in a house and you're looking at it, and instead of falling in love with the wallpaper or the pictures or the kitchen, right? Think of, okay, I'm going to buy this house this morning. I have to sell it tonight. What am I selling?
Yeah.
And it makes you
that's really good. Yeah.
Analyze what you're buying.
Brilliant. Yeah. So picture yourself selling the house and what you feel other people would like about it as well. Yeah. Brilliant. That's really great.
Can I ask you a few questions on how the house hunters, the poor house hunters that are out there, all right, and how they're getting on financially? Like, are the banks lending?
Yeah, so banks really are lending, absolutely. They are restricted by the Central Bank of Ireland as to how much they can lend you based on your income. So the maximum you can get is up to 4 times your income as a first-time buyer. It is possible to borrow more than that with what's called an exception. So you can borrow up to 4.5 and sometimes 5 times your income. But yeah, the standard is 4 times your income as a first-time buyer.
What is the exception, can I ask, Stephen, when you say that?
Yeah, so an exception is with mortgage lenders, they are restricted by the Central Bank of Ireland, but it is in their control to lend to 20% of the people that they lend to in a calendar year. They're allowed to go outside the lending rules to that 20% of people. So if you need more than 4 times your income, it is possible. It is a lot harder to get. The banks will only give exceptions to what they would consider much better applications, so stronger incomes, better savings history. So yeah, if you feel you have a strong application and you need to borrow more, then yeah, it might be possible. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah,
it does. So are they a little bit lenient then?
They've got a little bit more lenience, I think, over the last few years. Like in terms of repayment capacity, they have eased up a bit. They were very strict about that, say 3-5 years ago. But there are lenders now who, are not as strict on repayment capacity. So what I mean by repayment capacity is if you're looking to get a mortgage and the monthly repayments are say 1,000 a month, then the bank will want to see that you can pay that 1,000 a month, or you have been paying that 1,000 a month through your bank accounts in the 6 months before you apply. So when you apply for a mortgage application, you have to give the bank 6 months bank statements. They will look in those bank statements that you have been paying something equivalent to 1,000 a month to show your repayment capacity. So so it's really, when you're getting ready for a mortgage, it's important to speak to a mortgage broker probably at least 6 months before you apply, because that's the 6 months the bank is going to be looking at. So yeah, 6 months before you apply, you really need to start getting your ducks in a row in terms of a mortgage application.
And
So
is
that
it
answers your question, or did I go a bit off point?
No. That covers the question. Thank you for that. And tell me, why do people just go to one bank, all right, and chat to a bank that they have banked with for many years, instead of going to yourself, like a mortgage broker who has a choice of banks
Yeah,
to
yeah.
deal with?
Well, a lot of customers do that. So it's I suppose for a word, it's convenient for some people just to go directly to their own bank. So if you've been banking with Bank of Ireland or AIB for years, it's very easy just to go to them, get your mortgage with them. However, they're not going to tell you if the bank down the road has a better deal in terms of the amount you can get and in terms of the mortgage interest rate you can get. So if you want the best deal, and you want someone who's going to be with you from start to finish and someone who's going to be on your side as well, which is really important, then it's definitely much better to use a mortgage broker. Now, listen, I am biased. I am a mortgage broker, have been for over 20 years. So I've seen it all. But definitely you're much better off with a mortgage broker for all of those reasons. If you want the maximum loan amount and the best interest rate and someone who'll be with you from start to finish.
Okay. And do your customers pay for that, or does the banks pay for that, or can you explain that to me?
Yeah. So with ourselves, it's a mixture of both. We do charge what's called a mortgage application fee. So we have a free consultation with all of our customers where we go through the ins and outs of your possible mortgage application, let you know what you qualify for, what's possible, what's not. So that's all free. Then if you decide to proceed, we get your application details, you supply us with your documents, and we make a recommendation for the best mortgage lender for you. And then if you're happy with that and you want to proceed with that mortgage application, then we ask you for the mortgage application fee, which is 195. And then we're with you from start to finish. Now, we only charge that 195 once. It's a once-off fee that we charge you if you need multiple mortgage approvals, or if you come back to us in the future and you want to switch your mortgage for a better deal, we'll never charge you a fee again. It's just a once-off fee when you first become a MortgageLine customer. Now, that's not the only way we get paid. If we were only getting 195 for each mortgage application, we wouldn't be in business very long. It's really the main way we get paid is from commission from mortgage lenders. Now, from a customer's point of view, it's the same across the board. All mortgage lenders pay us a 1% commission. So that's 1% of the mortgage amount. That's what they remunerate us with. So we've no preference for any particular bank.
That's important to
thing,
hear. That's
yeah,
important to hear.
Yeah. So we really just analyze your application, work out what the best deal is for you in terms of loan amount, in terms of interest rate, and that's the deal we'll present to you. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Right. Well, that's good to hear. Right, that it's the same commission. So one bank isn't offering more, so then you're making, or that's like we say, making the decision more favorable on what way you push it. So
yeah,
you're in.
We do have a code of ethics. We're very responsible and fair people, but yeah, that is also in the background as well, that we get paid the exact same from every mortgage lender. So there's no preference in terms of monetary remuneration. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should we ask the audience if they want any questions or ask any questions, or will I just ask you one or two more? What suits you?
Yeah. Do you want to just ask me one or two more? I think we'll be kind of running out of time then, and we'll.
Okay. Can I ask government schemes, what are available to the home buyers?
Yeah, so there are government schemes available to home buyers now. It's mainly just for new homes, unfortunately. If you're looking to buy a second-hand home, there's not too much available. But if you're lucky enough to find a new home, and there are schemes available for you. So there's the Help to Buy scheme, first of all, which is a rebate of tax that you've paid over the last 4 years. You can get a maximum of €30,000. So that's a huge help if you're buying a new home, to be able to get 30,000. And it's basically, that refund of tax that you've paid over the last 4 years. So I said the max is 30,000. It is, but only if you've paid 30,000 in tax in the last 4 years. Okay. Then secondly, there's also what's called the First Home Equity Scheme. And that is where you can get up to 30% of the property purchase price. And basically the First Home Equity Scheme will take a 30% stake in your property. So you can get 10, 20, 30% towards your property purchase, or whatever the amount is you get, the First Home Equity Scheme will take that percentage equity in your house. So that's something, I suppose, unlike the Help to Buy scheme, which is a rebate of tax, the First Home Equity scheme, they're taking a stake in your house. So if you don't need the first home equity scheme, yes, stay away from it. But if there's an affordability gap there and you need it to get that new home, then it's a really helpful scheme. There is also the local authority affordable purchase scheme. So local authorities around the country, they release houses from time to time, and they're given to what they call affordable applicants. And yeah, basically, with those, it's kind of like the first home equity scheme in that the council takes a 20%, up to a 20% stake in your home, and at a future point, like the first home equity scheme, you will need to pay that back. So again, they're trying to bridge that affordability gap for first time buyers. And all of these schemes that I've mentioned, they're only available to first time buyers. However, with the first home equity scheme, you can be deemed a first time buyer even if you've owned a property before, if, for example, you've been divorced or separated and bought out of the family home. But in all those other cases, it is just for first time buyers. Now, actually, there is one other exception in terms of the tenant purchase scheme. So if you are renting a property and your landlord puts the property up for sale, then you have the first right of refusal to buy that property, and you can avail of the first home equity scheme as well to get up to 30% of that property purchase price. So again, that will bridge the gap if you're looking to buy your property from your landlord and you're a first time buyer.
Okay.
That's kind of just a brief kind of synopsis of the various schemes available. We're experts in all those schemes, so if anyone tuning in today has any questions or needs any help with those schemes, we're happy to help.
If you're an expert, Stephen, then tell me, what way are the mortgage rates going to go?
What way mortgage rates going to go? Well, this is a thing, I suppose. You can only really take a guess on this like anyone else, but my own two cents worth on it is mortgage rates probably over the next year are hopefully going to come down, but it depends on a couple of things. So first of all, inflation does seem to be coming under control, and there is rumours that the central bank are going to start to decrease, and the European Central Bank is going to start to decrease rates maybe from June or in the second half of the year. So at the moment, the ECB rate is 4.5%. Hopefully that will go to 4 or less by the end of the year and continue to reduce next year. Now, will the Irish mortgage lenders follow on and reduce their rates as well? Hopefully they will. I don't think they'll be reducing their rates by as much as the ECB reduces their rates. So mortgage lenders were slow to decrease their rates when the ECB was increasing rates over the last few years. So I think they'll be slow to decrease them as well over the next 6 to 12 months. So I don't see the Irish banks, to be honest, decreasing too much. But the good news is they will probably be decreasing a bit over the next year or so.
I hope they will, and I think they start, please God, by June. All right, going into maybe the third quarter. And I do think there's going to be more activity in the property market then after that, because more will start to sell and start to move again.
Yeah.
Because as earlier, there's a shortage of supply now because there's no choice out there for people wanting to trade up and trade down. So it's a little bit static in the property market at the moment.
Yeah. No, absolutely. But like you, I do see that, but there'll be more, hopefully more new properties available in the second half of the year. And with lower interest rates, that will hopefully give a bit of a kickstart to the market as well. Absolutely.
But we need to construct a lot more, because every year we need about 45,000, 50,000 properties, new supply. And that's just for
we're probably
population.
Less. I don't know the exact figures. I don't have them to hand right at the moment, but I'm sure we're building less than half of that at the moment.
There's 29,000, so around 30,000.
Okay, so we're getting towards that figure.
We are, but we're still a long way off, all right, because our population is growing and people are moving over, all right, and then...
And I think, as you said, if we need 45,000 houses, we probably need to be building more than that, especially in the short term, to catch up with demand. Because there is a severe shortage at the moment. But I think what you said earlier for first-time buyers, it's really good advice. Get your ducks in order. Be patient. Search as hard as you can.
Okay, and the first-time buyers, they all stop looking, all right? It's like a calendar for me every year, right? And I want your listeners to think of it, it's like a big volume knob on a stereo, all right? From the 1st of January, the volume gets turned up ever so slightly, activity starts, all right? And then everyone is out looking, right? And houses go on the market in April, May, June, all right? It peaks. It eases off in volume then until August, and then she shoots up again for September and October. But then come the October bank holiday, and this is what I always say to you buyers out there, 90% of you stop looking. You all go, oh no, here, go on, no, listen, we'll start again after Christmas. And that is the best time to buy a property. November, December is the best time because deals fall through that were agreed in August and September. They fall through, they go back on the market in November, December, and the prices go down because there's less people looking. And people want to have a deal done on their property before Christmas, so they accept offers that they wouldn't have accepted another time of the year.
Right.
Remember,
Okay.
don't give up, keep looking.
Yeah, that's really good advice. I think for any first-time buyers, yeah, you do have to be persistent. You have to be bullish. It can be disheartening, but you just got to keep trying and keep looking. Absolutely. And just before we finish up, I just wanted to mention a little bit about your shop fronts. They're, as a resident also of Drumcondra, you do fantastic displays, which you're well known for locally. And I would suggest that anyone who doesn't know about your shop front displays should look you up. I know you've a great Christmas display, Valentine's display, Halloween, every different event in the year. You kind of shake things up in your shop front, and I just want to congratulate you on that. I know you've won awards and whatnot for it as well, but personally, I think it's fantastic. Really brightens up the area of Drumcondra as well.
Yeah, it gets a lot of attention because estate agents' windows are the most boring in the world. All right, they put little A4 sheets or a house and a description or address, and they cover the windows in it. And I grew up in retail, and my father had shops in the area. And on a Sunday when the shops were closed, he'd say, "Come on, lads, who's going to help me do the window?" And I'd go up on a Sunday and I'd help him. And then after school on a Monday, I'd go and I'd see the ladies and the locals like looking in the window, wanting to buy this and wanting to buy that tea set. And I knew then a window creates attention.
Yeah, yeah.
And you sell your stuff from it. So as an auctioneer, I still have 23 properties in the window, but we just do things a little bit differently to catch the drivers as they drive by, because they mightn't be able to see the property we have, but we get a message out there. And it's good. We win awards. So thank you for that.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, well, listen, enjoy the rest of your day, Ronan. I hope everyone's got something useful from that. I know I did. So, yeah, we'll see
you soon,
Ronan.
Go on, keep up the great work. Thanks again.
Bye now.